You know what I love? When a guy who helped drive the car into the wall spends 10 minutes explaining the skid mark. Now, normally, Wilfred Frost is quite good at pushing back against the Tory lies, yet in this interview he didn't seem to challenge any of it. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do some fact checking. Now, Mel Stride says unemployment is rising every month, inflation is going to even higher, and Labour's taxed the living daylights out of business while throwing up a huge pay rise at doctors and train drivers. Sounds dramatic until you check the facts.
Unemployment's risen every month since this government came into office, and it was at a near historic low when we left office. We had a hugely positive...
But it's still at a historic low.
But it's rising, and the other things that are going wrong is clearly inflation now is expected to go even higher than was previously anticipated. That is keeping interest rates higher for longer, so that's affecting people with their mortgages, it's affecting businesses borrowing money.
Unemployment hasn't risen every month. It's bounced around a few tenths while employment has actually grown in the same window. The labour market is softening, sure, but this isn't the jobs apocalypse he's selling. Inflation, it ticked up because of global energy and base effects, not because Rachel Reeves woke up and decided to spook the gilts just for fun of it.
And it's also translating into a huge servicing cost for our ever-burgeoning national debt that this government is adding to through all this excessive borrowing that it's doing. We're spending about £100 billion a year, Wilf, just on the interest on our national debt. That's about twice what we spend on defence. Now, so that's not going in to help our public services.
The Bank of England literally flagged the outlook shift before Mel's interview, context he conveniently forgot to mention. Then we get to his greatest hits. We're spending around $100 billion a year on debt interest, about twice what he was spending on defence. Translation is he's comparing a broad system-wide interest bill to the core MOD budget. Big number, yeah, but not the gotcha he thinks it is, and very much a bill racked up on his party's watch.
That's just simply going to pay our creditors. And we know that we're heading through a summer of cruel uncertainty now, with people knowing that taxes are going to be rising in the autumn to cover the black hole that this government has created, and none of that is good for growth, and it's not good for living standards, it's not good for our country, I'm afraid.
If you were confronted with a similar situation, would you bring forward the autumn statement? Would you knock the issue on its head?
Right, well, that's like saying, if the car had been driven into the wall at 100 miles an hour, there we are, Mel, take the steering wheel and tell us how you get out of that one. We would not have got us into this position in the first place. We would have not taxed the living daylights out of businesses.
And the taxing the business to death line. Oh, come on. Labour has kept corporation tax at 25% and gone after the windfalls and the loopholes. Meanwhile, under the Conservatives, the overall tax burden hit a 70-year high. If Mel wants to talk about who squeezed whom, he might want to check his own ledger first.
We would have been leaning very heavily into productivity. Instead of just giving huge pay rises to trained drivers, junior doctors, we would have been making sure that we got a more productive workforce as part of that arrangement, and we would have borne down on the welfare bill in a very serious way. And of course, this government has shown that even its meagre attempts to do that failed because its backbenchers won't bear it.
Now, to the pay deals he sneers at. Huge pay rises for trained drivers and junior doctors. Those were multi-year settlements designed to end strikes your lot couldn't resolve. Train drivers got roughly around 14% spread over 3 years. Junior doctors around 22% over 2 years. After a decade of real terms erosion, that's not a jackpot, it's a triage. And let's not rewrite history. The record wave of strikes, millions of working days lost, happened under the Conservatives. You don't get to set the house on fire and then complain the water bill's too high.
I don't think it's right for me to try and write Rachel's coming budget, because I think there's going to be an absolute horror show. But I think it is fair to say that the black hole that she has created, which could be as large as 40 or 50 billion pounds, according to the National Institute of Economic and Social Research, widely respected forecaster, if it's of that size, it might be very difficult for the government to avoid now actually going into one of the big heavy lifting taxes like national insurance, where they've obviously already been, but income tax and VAT. And if they were to do that, that would be an extraordinary breach of trust with the British people, because they made it very clear in their manifesto and subsequently that they will not do anything on those taxes at all. But I'm afraid this is a government that's running out of road and running out of options.
My favourite slip, though, citing the National Institute of Economic and Social Research as a widely respected broadcaster. It's a think tank, Mel. If you can't name the institute you're leaning on, maybe you shouldn't lean that hard. Finally, the black hole talk. Yes, NICER says there is a gap, and if you keep tough fiscal rules and honour spending promises, that's a rules choice problem as much as a Labour problem, and it sits on top of a weak growth and fragile public services inherited from, well, Mel's government. If you insist on the metaphor, you were in the driver's seat for 14 years. Lecturing the recovery team about the bodywork while the airbags are still deflating isn't the genius move you think it is. So, here's the truth stripped to spin. The jobs picture is mixed, not catastrophic. The inflation bump has causes beyond party politics. The debt interest bill is huge because of long-term choices. Businesses aren't being bled dry by some new corporate tax hike. And the pay deals stopped an industrial relations disaster you left behind. Mel Stride isn't offering solutions. He's offering a story where he was never in the car, just pointing at the dents and pretending he doesn't have the keys. But then the Tories' current policy is trying to gaslight you and make you believe that nothing that they did was ever wrong. They must think you're stupid enough to forget their 14 years of disaster, which you can see Gulper doing in the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.